Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and I will be sharing my pregnancy story with everyone. The reason why I'm doing it is because when I was going through all these symptoms, I had so many questions, and the first thing that the doctors tell you is don't go and do any research, but that's exactly what you go and do. So I know that I found a lot of comfort and I found a lot of hope in the videos that I would look in YouTube and with some of the moms. So I hope that my story could do that to somebody that's going through the same things that I'm going through. So I'm pretty much going to go through the whole pregnancy experience up until I gave birth, through my NICU experience as well, because I know how it feels to be lost in that moment. It's a very difficult experience, but I just feel that, any support from anybody that you can get is really, really important. I was going through all these new pregnancy experiences, and at the same time I was going through like really bad experiences, so I was just lost and I just didn't know what to do. So before I move on to the video, I just want to say I'm not like a doctor, I'm not a professional. I'm just simply sharing my story. I might not be right in some things, but like I said, I'm just here to show support, to share my story, and to possibly just bring some kind of answers or some kind of hope to any mommy out there. So it all started when I went into my first anatomy scan at 17 weeks. So I went in there and they said, well, your baby's looking a little bit too small. It might be that your period cycle is not calculated right. At 17 weeks, my baby was 15 weeks. So they said, well, maybe it's just a mistake. Let's just give it another 2 weeks. You'll be 19 weeks. The baby will be a little bit bigger. We'll be able to see it a little bit more. And maybe everything will be situated. I come back, I was 19 weeks. The baby was now measuring at 17 weeks. So that's when it became an issue. I wasn't going to my regular doctor visits anymore. I was going with the high-risk pregnancy doctor. Throughout my whole pregnancy, my baby was always 2 weeks behind, 2 weeks behind, 2 weeks behind, and she would not catch up. At this point, my experience with one of the doctors was not as pleasant, and the reason why I'm gonna say that is because she was just a little bit harsh with her words. So when I was 24 weeks, my baby was measuring 22 weeks, and that was when she told me that we needed to do a test. We're gonna extract some fluid from my placenta, and so from there they were gonna check if my baby, why she was small, and many other things. I mean, with this test they could check everything. So there's a risk involved. The chances of us losing the baby, it's not that high. I think we should just go ahead and do it. And I agreed to do this test just so that I was prepared for whatever was coming my way. But this doctor, I did not like her wording, and she said, because keep in mind that at this point I was 22 weeks, she said that we needed to do this immediately, so that if something was to go wrong, I had enough time to terminate my pregnancy. And once she said that, I just broke down into tears. And I remember these exact words. Those were her exact words. And I remember them clearly. And I just feel that she really didn't have to say those words exactly. Or from that point on, me and that doctor were just not vibing at all. When she said that, and I just didn't feel right. I did not know that I had a choice where I could change doctors and get a different opinion and things like that. So that is something that you could keep in mind. If you don't like your doctor that you you could definitely change your doctor with somebody else that you really like or that you feel comfortable with. It's about 2 weeks for you to get your results back, and they ask you all these questions. So before on that test, they say, well, you know, do you have high blood pressure? Do you smoke? Do you do any drugs? So just to kind of like, you know what they're getting into. It takes about 2 weeks to get the results. Those were the longest 2 weeks of my life. I would hold my little belly and I would say like, oh my God, you know, is my baby okay? Am I gonna be able to make it? I mean, just with the comments that this doctor made, like, you know, we had time to terminate my pregnancy. I mean, I was going through some depression. I was going through anxiety. I already suffered from that anyways from the beginning. So it was just even more difficult for me to just go through all of that. Finally, 2 weeks later, they give me that call and I knew the number. So I answered right away and I was like, what's going on? Tell me right away. Long story short, everything was fine. All her chromosomes was fine. No, they didn't see anything. Once you get that test and that test came out completely like clean, now that doctor was like, well, I mean, I really don't know what's going on. I mean, there's nothing on there. You look fine. You don't have any high blood pressure. What we're going to do is we're just going to keep you're gonna keep coming in twice a week and doing the non-stress tests. And I mean, at that point I was already, I think I was like about 27 weeks. I would sit on a chair. They would just, you know, put the little things, the monitors on me, and I would be there for like 20 minutes and they're pretty much just checking that the baby's heart rate is, you know, regular and everything like that. So by this time I had already gotten a different doctor. The first doctor actually put me on bed rest, and from that week on, from like week 24, and I was like, I like to work out. I would actually do a little bit of movement here and there, but she actually said, no, from this point on, you have to stop working, you have to go on bed rest, and you can't do anything. So, and that doctor was telling me, no, like I've seen, because obviously they have records of everything. They're like, no, I see everything on here. You actually could do a little bit of, you know, light work. So don't go to the gym, but you could go on walks. You don't have to necessarily, he said, I don't necessarily have to call it like a bed rest. So I was just so confused. I was so confused because, I mean, with my anxiety and everything, a little bit of a workout here and there would really kind of like help me and put me more at ease. But, you know, I mean, I had one doctor tell me yes, one doctor tell me no. I really didn't know. I just pretty much felt with whatever was right for me. And yes, I would not go to the gym and do all these like crazy workouts, but I would go on my walks, and I was not pretty much like on, I mean, I would get my rest here and there, but I would move a little bit. I would move a little bit here and there. In one of those times where I had to do one of the NST tests, they had to take me to the labor and delivery room because they said that, you know, her heart reacted, you know, or, you know, something like that. So they sent me there. They were like, okay, well, you're gonna have to stay for 2 days. And I was like, 2 days? They're like, yeah, well, because she's small, so we don't know what really is what caused it. So, you know, you have to stay here for 2 days. We're gonna put, you know, the IV on you. I mean, I was scared because, I mean, at this point I was 30 weeks. And so they put the IV on me and I was like, oh my God. So not only am I gonna have a small baby, NICU, I don't want my baby to be in the NICU. And I mean, so many things were going through my head. I was there for 2 days, and I was on the monitors the whole time, 24/7. They checked everything. So they're like, well, your baby looks great. She actually never even had a reaction for those 2 days, so we're gonna go ahead and send you home. So I was like, okay, fine, like I'll go home. But I mean, my anxiety was through the roof. I mean, and these are all the things that I had to go through on top of your regular pregnancy things, which is like your back hurts, your hormones, your mood swings, then you're hungry, then you want this and that, and but then at the same time you're not like, I wasn't able to enjoy all these little things. I just really wanted to have my baby in my arms already, and can't say that I enjoyed my pregnancy at all. But anyways, I'm just gonna continue to move on because there's still a lot more to go. The 2 days that I was there, they were like, no, well, anyways, you're gonna have your baby at 36 weeks gestational age, so your baby's gonna be here soon. We'll see you pretty much in 6 weeks. And I was like, oh my god. I went to go see the doctor. Once again, baby's still 2 weeks behind, and that's when they said, yes, you know, for pretty much IUGR babies, this is what we do, which is like, it's pretty much like a growth restriction. So it could be many causes. It could be your placenta that is not giving the fetus like enough oxygen or enough like blood flow for the baby, or enough nutrients for the baby to grow. It could be many reasons. At this point, I mean, my baby's 4 months. I don't know anything about my placenta, what happened. They said they send it somewhere to get it checked out. I really don't know what was the cause of it. I was like on a very good health, worked out a lot. I mean, no high blood pressure. But talking about high blood pressure, then, you know, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and induce you at 36 weeks. Here I come, 36 weeks. I'm getting induced. I only open up 2 centimeters, and because she was so tiny, they didn't really want to give me any type of like medicine on my IV just because of her heart. So they said that they were going to do it manually. So they put in like a balloon down there, which it did hurt a little bit. They said that it wasn't going to be, that it was, oh, it's just going to feel uncomfortable. But when they insert that thing down there, it was painful. And it was a balloon that kind of like blew up. I don't know how long. I think it was like 3-4 centimeters big, and they put it in down there. And I mean, it hurt when it went in there, but after a while it did just feel uncomfortable. But and then after that, it was just a waiting game. I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. Every 4 hours they would come in and check to see how much I had already dilated, and that was painful when they would come and check me. I don't know what to say or how to say that it felt, but I just felt like when she would check me, I mean, she was reaching like and grabbing my soul. That's pretty much how I felt. And for her just to tell me, oh, you're only open 2 centimeters. And I was like, 2 centimeters? Oh my god. By that time, it was already like 12 hours. And I was like, oh my god. So then they gave me this pill, once again, to soften up my cervix. Didn't work. Then they put some, like, I don't know, I'm not really good with the names, but they put some in my IV to kind of like cause the pain. I swear I still have pregnancy brain. That's when I was getting really bad contractions. I still had the balloon down there. And they would come check me every 4 hours, and just to tell me that I wasn't really opening them up. I had to check on the baby. So that day she wasn't moving as much anymore. So I just felt like I was like, you know what? I know that you guys are trying your best. By this time it was like already like 20 hours. I mean, it was already, I believe it was like 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning. I was like, I know that you guys are trying your best to, you know, to get me open. I don't feel her moving a lot as she used to move. Then that's when they would put the oxygen on me because her heart was actually dropping. I was just so scared. I was like, oh my god, like what's going on? You know, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna be able to see my baby? Then at 9 in the morning or 8 in the morning, that's when like the new doctor came in. They're like, okay, well, we see, you know, her heart is kind of like dropping here and there, but we're gonna go ahead and do a test for your urine to see, because you do have high blood pressure. All of a sudden I have preeclampsia. Urine, they check my urine, and they say that that yeah, I do have preeclampsia. It's not like severe preeclampsia, but I have preeclampsia, and that we pretty much had to do C-section because of her size, because of her heart, because of my preeclampsia, which I didn't have preeclampsia throughout. Like, I had preeclampsia that day. I don't know how that happened. I really don't know why. I'm gonna say it's the stress, because I had high blood pressure that day, like really, really, really high blood pressure. And then all of a sudden they checked. They were like, okay, well, based on everything that we see, based on your preeclampsia, based on, you know, her heart, we're gonna go ahead and have to do C-section right now, and we're getting you ready now in 15 minutes. So when she came in, you know, we were chit-chatting, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're having your baby in 15 minutes. I was like, oh my God. I was actually tired. I was just like, I was relieved. I was like, let's do this. I'm ready. I want my baby out. Put me in the room. They put in the, you know, the epidural. They numb me. And yeah, pretty much I didn't feel anything. With a C-section, I mean, you just kind of feel like, you know, like they're pulling on you. The only part that it did feel a little bit uncomfortable was when they were putting your uterus back in there. I really didn't understand until I saw like how it happened. But yes, they're putting you back all together. They're putting all your guts in, and then they put your uterus in. And I did feel like when that was going on, like they punch you in the gut, and you're like, oh, I can't breathe. That's pretty much how it felt. So it's just like a very, very, very like just hard pressure on your chest, and you can't breathe. You don't know if you to breathe in or to breathe out, because it pretty much just, you can't. And so that's when, you know, they're like, okay, well, you need to relax. It's normal. Breathe in and out. Just kind of like find a way how to breathe. And so my husband is next to me, you know, making me feel comfortable. I didn't hear my baby cry for like 5 seconds. And I was like, why should I cry? Why? I just remember, I think it was maybe less, but it felt forever. And then all of a sudden I hear this little, like, I just hear, that's all I hear. And they were like, yep, she's out, she's here. She's 3 pounds, 7 ounces. So she was 3 pounds, 7 ounces. And I was like, oh my gosh, so tiny. And, you know, they were cleaning her up, and then all of a sudden, that's when they start, you know, putting me back together. But then, you know, my husband's here, then they bring my baby here, and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I was still kind of like dozed out a little bit, but I was just like, oh my God. And I was kind of like trying to see her. I couldn't really see her much, but, you know, she was there. She was healthy. She was breathing. They pretty much put in 2 steroid shots, 1 in each leg, and that was to help her lungs. So pretty much when she was born, she didn't have any like lung issues or any or respiratory issues. So she was fine. She was breathing without any assistance. She was obviously just small. Right away, she had to go to the NICU right away. Because of the magnesium, usually after a C-section, you know, they want you to get up and get going. But for I think after 12 hours. But I actually was knocked out. Because of the magnesium, it makes you feel very drowsy, very itchy. But then they give you like some kind of medication, and even, you know, wake up to, I mean, I couldn't even wake up to and get up to go see my baby. I knew that she was in the NICU. I already knew at that point that she was going to be in the NICU, that I had pretty much no choice to take her home, and that was just, you know, what's best for her, obviously. So I was like, I want to go see her. So I get up. Very, very, very painful. But, I mean, it's doable. I mean, I know that you're probably seeing this video and you're like, oh my God, like, I'm so scared, you know, if I get a C-section. And trust me, you'll find the strength to get up. Like, especially when you have your baby in the NICU and your baby's like obviously not next to you, and if you get a C-section, you find the strength. trust me, you find the strength, and doesn't matter if it hurts, you want to go see your baby. Able to see her. I still wasn't able to carry her. I was just pretty much, I just put it in my hands, and then after a little while, and they were like, no, well, we need to do skin to skin. So they were like, do you want to do skin to skin? I was like, yes. I was like, I want to do skin to skin. I want to start. At that point, I wanted to breastfeed. But I didn't actually. I got pretty much just a little bit of milk, but as she got older, I didn't produce anymore. I tried pills, I tried everything, and I'm gonna say it's because of the stress of, you know, pretty much having, you know, my baby in the NICU. I got let go from the hospital, and it was me and another mom walking out in the wheelchair, and she was carrying her baby and I was not carrying my baby. And so I turn around and I see her with her baby, and it's actually a baby girl like mine. And I just pretty much just hold back my tears, and I was like, oh my God, your baby's beautiful. I was like, you're so lucky to be taking your baby home, because I was like, my baby's gonna have to stay, and I don't know how long, so sorry. I was like, I know, it's okay, you know, she's good, she's healthy, she'll make it out, but I have to wait. While she was in the NICU, I think it was 4 days later, she started feeding a little bit more with my milk and a little bit with the formula that they were giving her. So they were kind of like mixing it, and then they were fortifying it with something. And after 4 days, so the day before, she's like, oh my gosh, she's doing really great. She's eating. She's already feeding with her little bottle. She's learning how to feed. She's doing great. Good news all around. Then I pretty much go home, and then the next day, then I come back. They're like, we need to talk. Her intestines are very swollen, and we found blood in her stool. So she has like, so I was like, what? Yes, there's blood in her stool. Yes, at this point, what we have to do is that she pretty much has to stop feeding for 3 days. I was like, I mean, I was speechless. I was like, 3 days? I was like, she's hungry just for a little minute, and she starts crying. So I was like, how are we gonna do that? I was like, 3 days, what are we gonna do? So she actually was already even off her IV. They're like, yes, we're gonna have to put her IV back in, and we're gonna have to start, you know, and stop feedings for 3 days. I think that's when I broke down, where I wouldn't talk at all. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't sleep. It was the worst 4th of July of my life. I didn't know what to do. It was hard to see my baby cry and cry and cry and cry because she was hungry. They had like kind of like that little sugar water that they would, and the pacifier that would kind of like soothe her a little bit. Then after 3 days, they said, you know, your baby, the intestines, they did x-rays, and they're like, well, it's looking a little bit better, so she's not going to feed again until tomorrow. We'll start feeding her tomorrow. Anyway, she didn't eat until the next day. Oh my God, you should have seen when I put the bottle back in there. It was my milk already, because by that time, I mean, I don't know how I was doing it, but a little bit of milk was coming out. I was so stressed and everything, but something was coming out. I was like, I really, really, really want to give breast milk to my baby. So I remember, because her eyes were mostly closed, but when she actually was like, and she opened her eyes, and she was just sucking on that bottle like there was no tomorrow. And so it was a happy moment. You know, it was pretty much a milestone that I was like, oh my God, she's back to eating. And we were just crossing fingers that nothing would happen again to her intestines anymore. There was still no blood in her stool. So once you're in the NICU, you know, there's a couple milestones that, you know, that she needs to do before you get sent home. And she reached all of those things. She was eating. She was able to maintain her temperature without the heater. She was pooping great. She was eating great. She was breathing great. She was still very small. So at that point, she was like 0.3 percentile. So, which means that she wasn't even pretty much in the charts. That's how small she was. So she got let go of the NICU on the 16th. No, on the 15th. So July 15th, she was able to come home, and she was 3 pounds, 15 ounces. So almost 4 pounds. So she was able to come home. We were still fortifying her feeding. So I was doing half and half because I wasn't creating enough milk. So they were saying, well, do half and do whatever you have. It was just a happy moment when she was able to come home. I was finally able to bring her home, and it was 2 weeks after. It was a very happy moment. The grandmas was there. We called the grandmas over. They were waiting for us. I mean, my baby was in the NICU for only 2 weeks. There are parents that have their babies in the NICUs for way longer than that. I feel blessed that I was able, that yes, we had a very difficult time, but I was still able to come to bring my baby home, and I was able to come back home because I know that there's, you know, people that and families that don't get that, they don't get that chance. And that's why I actually, you know, I actually support March of Dimes because they're able to fight, and they're able to be, you know, the voice of the mothers and the babies. And 1 in 10 babies are born premature. So I really support March of Dimes because, you know, they help and fight for the health of moms. And so I wished, and, you know, it's something that I wish that I would have known about March of Dimes. You know, they support families in the NICU. They have a baby NICU app, which I wish I had. I mean, all of this is like, I would go to the NICU and be there for like pretty much the whole day, from like morning till I would come home like around 8 at night. And I would come home and do more research on the computer, and, you know, so like, okay, what is my baby gonna do? What's coming next? I feel that if I would have had that app, you know, it would have been maybe like a little bit different for me, or a different experience while I had my baby in there. They do have a mentorship program for NICU grad moms. They have a forum. And so I just feel that it's something very important that any of you guys that are going through the same situations actually, you know, show interest in supporting and, you know, sharing their information for anybody else that needs it out there. So that was that, really quick. So now my baby is 4 months old, 4.5. We just went for her 4-month appointment. She is 10.5 pounds. So yes, she's in the 3 percentile now. So, but her length is in the 15 percentile. Everything is great. Everything is going great with her. She will be 5 months on the 29th of November, so it's almost here. She, like I said, she's pretty much 4 months, but technically she was born at 36 weeks, so she's technically, you know, always going to be like kind of like that month behind. But other than that, she's doing great. She's healthy. She's talking. I mean, she's not talking, but, you know, she's trying to talk. Would like to be in touch with other moms that, you know, that went through similar situations like me. I know that I pretty much was all over the place, jumping all over the place, but I just wanted to share my story. I mean, I've never done a video like this before, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put a camera in front of me and I'm just gonna record and share my story. So I apologize that I was all over the place, and I just hope that I'm able to help, you know, pretty much, or give hope to somebody, you know, that probably they're, you know, that they they told them that they have a small baby. Try to stay away from all the bad things and just look at all the positive things. Yes, your baby's probably going to be small, and if your baby is small throughout the whole pregnancy, then your baby might be in the NICU, but they're gonna make it. I don't know what religion you guys are in or what you guys are into, but I mean, I pray to my God, you pray to your God, pray to your universe, just pray, just stay positive. And I think that's one thing that really helped me a lot. I love talking, as you could see, and I love making new friends. So, but I hope that, you were able to, maybe find some kind of hope, and, just know that everything's gonna be okay. Stay positive, stay strong. Power to all the moms out there that, have babies in the NICU. Oh my God, it's the toughest. It's just the toughest thing. This is my story. I would like to hear some other stories. So feel free to, like I said, feel free to message me. Feel free to reach out to me, and hope we could chit chat. So that's pretty much it. Bye guys.